In the modern gaming era, GTA 6 might be the first game to launch at $100. Not the deluxe edition, not the collector's bundle with a statue and an art book, just the base game, $100. And the saddest part, it's not even a surprise. It feels like the natural next step in a trend we've been watching for years, like showing up at a potluck where every dish is just a different flavor of spoiled potato salad. Sure, the sticker price hasn't moved much since my mom paid $60 for Mario 3 back in the day, but they've been clawing more money out of every release for over a decade. Battle passes, season passes, pre-orders, early access, cosmetics, XP boosters, pay for convenience nonsense, all of it. It's not just one big price hike. It's death by 1,000 upcharges. And somehow, even with all of that money pouring in, the games keep getting worse. More bugs, more activism, less actual game. It's like they're challenging themselves to see how little gameplay they can ship and still pay for their next yacht. And now, they want to formalize it, raise the price for real, like the quality was ever keeping up. But they're not getting away with it like they used to, because now they're losing to indies. I don't mean missing a few plays. I mean losing the Super Bowl to a kids' flag football team kind of losing. One fairly priced, polished game with actual creativity can completely embarrass the entire AAA industry. Expedition 33 is just the latest in a long line of examples. A gorgeous, full-featured, turn-based RPG built by ex-Ubisoft devs who got tired of designing games for stockholders. And that's the shift. We've lived this reality for years, and now that we've gotten a taste of what's possible, players are walking away from AAA garbage. Because if AAA studios are going to charge more while delivering less, they better enjoy the view on the way to bankruptcy. Let's be clear. The problem isn't just that games are getting more expensive. The problem is that most of them aren't worth what they're charging. Nintendo already made the first move. They bumped up Tears of the Kingdom to $70 and people were pissed. But you know what? It's old anyway, because the game delivered. I don't think anyone's denying it was a great game. And when they drop the next Mario, Zelda, or Smash Brothers, it'll probably be the same deal. Premium price for premium game. Not because people are mindless consumers, although some of them are, because sometimes the game is actually worth the price of admission. So now, Rockstar's stepping up with GTA 6, rumored to be the first standard edition game that starts at $100. And somehow, that doesn't even feel like a shock anymore. Because the trailer hit like a meteor. The hype is through the roof. It's cyberpunk level buzz from a studio that hasn't burned its goodwill yet. Well, unless you count releasing GTA 5 so many times it should qualify for Social Security, but let's pretend we don't mind. If they land GTA 6, if the game hits like it's supposed to, yeah, it's gonna sell. Like toilet paper in a pandemic, if the toilet paper had microtransactions and a pre-order bonus. And honestly, fine. If you can make something that big, that polished, that ambitious, and it actually delivers on all of its hype and promises, charge whatever you want. But here's where it goes sideways. If Rockstar gets away with it, that becomes the new ceiling. Not just for Rockstar, for everybody. EA, Ubisoft, Activision, they're all standing by with their fingers crossed, waiting to see if it works. Not because they've made better games, not because they've earned it, but because they want permission to raise prices under the excuse that this is just where the industry is now. They're not chasing greatness, they're chasing precedent. So no, I don't have a problem with expensive games. If I can't afford them, I won't buy them. It's very simple. But if AAA studios are going to charge more, the game better deliver more value in return. Because right now, half of these studios are trying to rebrand mediocrity as premium and hoping that you, the stupid consumer, won't notice the difference. And that brings us to Ubisoft. Because if there's any studio that thinks it deserves to follow Rockstar's lead, it's them. The only problem is that they're not leading anything. They're limping behind, wheezing, falling over themselves, still trying to convince us that Skull and Bones was the next big thing. They called it the industry's first quadruple A game. Because AAA disappointment wasn't enough. Now they need an extra letter to make up for the missing content. This game was in development for a decade? And when its bloated corpse finally washed ashore, it wasn't some grand pirate adventure. It was a live-service grindfest where you play the world's least interesting pirate, unlocking cosmetics, grinding out daily missions, and buying your way through the high seas one tier at a time. Because apparently, that's what pirate life is supposed to be according to Ubisoft. Daily challenges, premium shop bundles, and a game that really just didn't work. So I hear. They charged $70 for that, plus a deluxe edition, plus cosmetics, plus a premium store. And at no point does it ever feel like they were building a game people actually wanted to play. Just a storefront with a boat skin slapped on top. And of course, as if that wasn't enough, now they're pushing Assassin's Creed Shadows and calling it their return to form. Except all we got were pre-order bonuses, collector's editions, and a whole lot of marketing fluff for a game that failed on nearly every metric. That's what Ubisoft does now. They don't launch games, they launch monetization structures with just enough gameplay to call it playable. And the worst part is that they're not the only ones doing it. The whole gaming industry is in freefall. Studios are cutting content, releasing half-finished products, front-loading deluxe editions, carving up the game so they can sell it back to you as a live service, and calling it innovation. But they're not evolving. They're inflating. They're pretending that more expensive automatically means more valuable, when all it really means is that they need your money faster before the ship sinks. And the numbers show it. The layoffs, the stock drops, the desperate attempts to chase trends that already passed them by. This is what happens when you raise prices without raising the quality. This could be the industry bubble pop that we've all been waiting for. When studios think players are too dumb to notice the difference between a $100 game and a $100 mistake, studios fail. AAA studios don't want to earn it. They want to coast on brand names and nostalgia while pretending they're still in the same league as Rockstar and Nintendo. But they're not, because you can't rebrand mediocrity as a premium forever. Eventually, people stop buying the lie. And here's the part that should really sting. Players aren't burned out on games. They're burned out on AAA studio slop. Because while those studios are busy repackaging disappointment and raising the price, indie studios are out here doing everything right. They're shipping finished games, they're charging reasonable prices, and they're not just, hey, this is pretty good kind of games. We're talking Game of the Year contenders built by teams a fraction of the size of a AAA studio. Why? Because they don't have time for fluff. No middle management meetings about Ludo narrative synergy, no marketing teams blowing millions on CGI trailers for a game that barely runs. Just developers making good games they want to play. Expedition 33 is the perfect example. It looks great, it plays well, pushes an old genre to new heights, and it wasn't made in a factory line by 800 people chasing milestones for a quarterly earnings call. It was made by ex-Ubisoft devs, people who got tired of working in the machine and decided to do something better. And here's the best part. Gamers didn't just tolerate it, they showed up for it. Because when you make something that's actually good, people notice. You don't need a 20-person PR team. You don't need 5 editions of a roadmap. You just need a game that deserves to be played. Meanwhile, AAA studios are still trying to figure out how to sell us less game for more money and wondering why the red line keeps going down. So let's make it easy for them. If AAA studios want players to pay more, give us a reason to pay more. They need to look at what indie studios are doing, take notes, and put their bloated headcount to work. They need to stop designing systems around monetization and start building games that people actually want to play and talk about. Because the second they do that, the traction they've been chasing will finally show up without all of the begging. And then they can charge that premium without every YouTuber on the planet roasting them for slinging slop. It's not magic, it's not even that complicated. It's just old-fashioned effort and creativity. And right now, indie devs are showing the industry how it should be done and humiliating them while they do so. So yeah, GTA 6 is about to be the first game to break the $100 barrier, and if it delivers, fine. I'll roll my eyes and consider buying it, because at least Rockstar looks like they're showing up with something worth that kind of price tag. But the rest of the industry? They saw the price hike and skipped to the part where you're supposed to make a better game first. Ubisoft raised prices, added deluxe editions, sprinkled in some battle passes, and forgot to ship the game people actually wanted to play. They called it quadruple A like that fourth A was going to cover the smell. Meanwhile, indie studios are out here building Game of the Year contenders with skeleton crews and no PR budget, just actual effort and creative vision. And players are showing up for it. Not out of sympathy, not because of branding, because the games are good. So here's the deal. If AAA studios want to charge more, they have to earn it. We're not asking for miracles, just games that don't feel like we're beta testing their latest monetization strategies. Games that launch finished. Games that don't insult our intelligence with 5 editions, missing content, and less imagination than an executive buying just another yacht. Because if AAA studios don't learn from indies, if they don't learn from what's been happening, we're not looking at just price increases. We're looking at a $100 warning label for games that were never ready to ship, slapped together by studios already prepping their next round of layoffs. The stock's in freefall, the staff's getting cut, half of these studios are holding bake sales in the boardroom just to stay afloat. But sure, let's pretend that the problem is that games aren't expensive enough. And if those studios are trying to coast on their logo and nostalgia, they might want to keep their eyes on Expedition 33, because while they're busy dressing up another $80 corpse, indies were already building what's next. That's all for today. You're welcome.